We're here at Oklahoma Campground, Gifford Pinchot National Forest here in the great state of Washington. Let's go check out the campsites. Oklahoma Campground has 15 campsites. There's one double, which is 12/13. It's at about 1,700 foot elevation here in Gifford Pinchot National Forest, state of Washington. It's right up against the Little White Salmon River. And let's check out the sites. So this is site 0. I don't know, I'm guessing maybe that is the camp host. It's the first site. There you go. Picnic table, etc. We'll keep going. Got a message board. No information. We got a dumpster. Here's campsite number 1. You've got your driveway. You've got your picnic table, fire put beyond it. And you've got the host right there, right next to you. Good shade, nice grove of old growth forest trees. So here's picnic table and fire pit. You do have 2 sites right next to you over there. So that is not the best privacy lines, keeping it real. Do believe that the Little White Salmon River is straight ahead there. Doesn't look like there's a defined footpath. Doesn't mean you can't bushwhack your way over there, but not necessarily the design of the campsite. Here's campsite number 2. You got 1 right there. Here's your little parking driveway. Picnic table. Again, you got 1 right there. Here's your fire pit. And you got, oh my gosh, 3 right here. So this is very fishbowled. You do have the bathroom right there, but I'm not a fan of this bay. Keeping it real, I'm not gonna put too much time into it. Here is campsite 3. You've got the parking against these pillars, and you got your picnic table and your fire pit straight ahead. Let's take a look. I can hear what sounds like Little White Salmon River on the other side of this, so that might be pretty cool. Again, picnic table, fire pit. Nights have lots of nice areas to put your tent. And look at this, your own private access viewing area to Little White Salmon River. Let's go right down here and take a look. Oh, that is beautiful. So this is a pretty good view from campsite 3. I'm not liking the privacy lines of 1, 2, 3, kind of bang, 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 and kind of one mosh pit cul-de-sac. Climbing back up to site 3. So I like the access to Little White Salmon River. Picnic table, fire pit. Here's your flat area to put your tent. You got to do a restroom across the way. The thing I don't like is you got 2 and 1 like bang bang right next to you, and you got direct line of sight. So this cul-de-sac bay of campsites, 1, 2, and 3 are kind of right on top of each other. But you trade off that privacy for your own little secluded view of Little White Salmon River. So beautiful section, gotta say. You can climb down there very safely. Probably take some chairs down there. It's not a huge area, so maybe you have to be on the grass a little bit, but it works. Let's walk over here. This area isn't as nice. That looks kind of dangerous. I wouldn't try to go down there. You're better off having this be your point of access. So that's 3. Decent. The site itself, not great, but the access to the river is awesome. Here is campsite 4, Oklahoma Campground. We got a water pump. They haven't deployed yet. We're about 10 days before the start of the season, so that will be deployed. Also, we got 5 over here. Geez, this is 1 bay, 4 and 5. So important to realize. Here's your picnic table and your fire pit for 4. Straight ahead is your picnic table and fire pit for 5. So again, I'm not sure why they do this, but 5 and 4 are one like communal area, communal parking, no privacy lines between the 2 campsites. So unless you're getting both as a group, which could be a fun group play, I would not get either one of them as a single family. Sounds miserable. You'd be stuck with neighbors the whole time. And let's come down and take a look at water access. So that's kind of interesting. This is a little kind of swamp. This isn't the main Little White Salmon River. Little White Salmon River is a whole gully over, so you don't even have good access. So that's a little disappointing. So I'm not a fan of 4 and 5 at all. Horrible lot lines, only make sense as a group play, and you're not even right on Little White Salmon River like you were at 3. So not the best, keeping it real. Here is our restroom in site 6. So I will note that the actual river, Little White Salmon River, is on this side of the forest. So 6 is an inner campsite. For me, that's often a deal breaker because it doesn't have good privacy lines. Look at how open and exposed this is. You got your picnic table, your fire pit. I mean, you got good shade. That's in the plus column. Looks like I also see the forest road on the other side of this little section of forest. So you got roads on both sides, and you're entirely fishbowled on the inner. I would not do 6. And 7. You can see the picnic table right here. 7 is definitely better than 6. Let's see how good the access is to Little White Salmon River. I guess this is the road going this way. And here's 7. I don't know, I'm not really digging it. Let me come a little closer. You got your picnic table and your fire pit. But you got the main road going by this way. You got good proximity to the restroom, but you got roads going by on 2 sides. So I don't know. Probably not what I would pick. Okay, so this is interesting. You've got the pillar of 8 down right here. This picnic table and fire pit. You got 7 right there. So it's like 7 and 8 come this way. No immediate access to Little White Salmon River. There might be, it looks like there's a little footpath here, but it's overgrown. So not the best. I still don't understand what's going on this road, because doesn't this road look like it's in disrepair? This doesn't look like the main forest road to me. So I don't really know what's going on in this wing, but I know enough to know that I probably wouldn't want to stay at either of these 2, this particular bank of Oklahoma Campground. So here is 9D. I think the D means double, as in double capacity, double picnic table group type situation. So let's walk over here. We've got a double picnic table. This is very prominent. I mean, look at this. This is kind of smack dab in this particular section of Gifford Pinchot National Forest. It's got your fire pit. So it's very exposed. I mean, it's got some shade, but it's kind of right in the center of this area. Got this pretty epic trunk, your ceremonial center of your double wide campsite. Kind of cool. You got trails. That looks like the main road over there. So you got access paths in every direction. The main forest road is going over there, I think, to 10, 11, 12, etc. There's the forest road, I think, going out. There's kind of a weird situation here. I can tell you the Little White Salmon River is on that side of the river straight ahead. So no direct access to the river, but pretty sizable area if you're looking for a double wide. Let's keep going. Here is site 11. You got a restroom right there. Here's your driveway. Picnic table, fire pit. Pretty self-explanatory. Pretty good canopy cover as far as shade. You are right here on the forest road, see here on the left. So it's serviceable, nothing special. The Little White Salmon River is straight ahead through this section of brush on the other side of this road. So nothing noteworthy about that. Candidly, I don't think I like any of these sites so far. 3 had the best access to Little White Salmon River of the first 11. There's only 15 here, but it was also very fishbowled with 1 and 2, and kind of like a cul-de-sac of campsites in one big bay. So that could be a deal breaker for me. Here's 12, 13. Another kind of a group situation. On Recreation.gov, they advertise this as a double. So here you are. Couple picnic tables, fire pit, obviously wide area for parking. That's nice. At least you are right on the river. I can hear it. See if there's a path down there. Looks like there might be one straight ahead. I'll check it out. Yeah, looks like there's going to be a path to the river. That's cool. I'm doing this before the season started, so I could be the first one walking through this in many months. So there's definitely a lot of spider webs, but it is what it is. And didn't see any spider webs. I'm glad I came down here because it's actually kind of a beautiful section. Look at that. This is your access from 12 and 13, kind of your private domain. Looks like behind me to my right is 14, so I guess you probably share that with that one, but I'll check that in a second. Very beautiful, site 12 and 13. I come back to site 12 and 13. That's a yellow jacket trappers, that's good. And I'm guessing this is 14. Here is site 14. Park here, you got your picnic table and your fire pit. Main problem is you're sharing the area with 12 and 13, which is a double, so it's gonna be a raucous area. You do have Little White Salmon River access straight ahead down to the shoreline, but this is a pretty dirty, kind of low quality site, kind of scuzzy. I'm not a fan. Here's your forest road. And last but not least, got a site 15. First of all, I'll say you kind of have the turnaround of the campsite right here, a little loop-de-loo. And 15 is on the inner, it's on the opposite side of Little White Salmon River, so that's a strike against it. Clearly you would park straight ahead, and here's your picnic table and your fire pit. I mean, it's an old growth section of forest. You'd put your tent right there on the right, or straight ahead there. So, not the biggest fan, keeping it real. I mean, this is you're basically looking at a campground road, and you got a clear line of sight to 12, 13, and 14. So, not great. No point of interest, opposite side of the river. So, okay, I just walked all 15 of Oklahoma Campground. I'm really not trying to be too picky. I mean, it'd be very easy to walk around and be like, this is beautiful, this is amazing, oh my gosh. But, you know, the reason I do these reviews is to try to give actionable, realistic, accurate information if you're booking one of these campgrounds. So, I mean, this is classic Gifford Pinchot National Forest here in the great state of Washington. It's old growth, underbrush type forest, not the fault of the forest. It just happens to be a low elevation forest. This campground is 1,700 feet, Oklahoma is, and Moss Creek Campground down the road is about 1,400 feet. Because of that low elevation, you get a certain ecological footprint, which is unavoidable. Kind of a lot of, as you can see as I'm walking down this road, a lot of bushes and brush and occasional old growth tree, but definitely got its own ecological footprint profile. For myself, it's not my favorite. I live down in Central Oregon, and I'm like a fan of the Deschutes National Forest Three Sisters Wilderness area. And you kind of at higher elevation, you get the alpine mix, a lot of ponderosa pines and spruces and hemlocks, and more of a pristine alpine environment with volcanic rock and white sand and kind of more of a curated, manicured type forest. So for that reason, I'm not the biggest fan of this kind of a footprint. I grew up in the Pacific Northwest and Mount Hood area, so this to me is kind of backyard feel. Doesn't have that destination feel to it, which maybe is my own bias, but is what it is. So here at Oklahoma, I'd say the best one is campsite number 3. It's got the best access to Little White Salmon River. It doesn't have great privacy lines with 1 and 2. You're kind of in a bay of campsites, a cul-de-sac of campsites, which to me was suboptimal, but you trade that off for the access to the river. Maybe take your chairs down to Shoreline and hang out by the river all day. That could be fun. So I'd probably say 3 is the best here at Oklahoma. I did also just do Moss Creek. I'd say 8 was the best there, and as far as it has its own section of Shoreline against Little White Salmon River, which actually was premium. Like 8 blew me away. The site itself was it was okay, kind of on the edge of a long driveway, so not great privacy lines, but the access to the river made up for it. So at Moss Creek, I would do campsite 8 if you want a river play. If you want a privacy shade forest play, I would have probably done 7. You could camp there, get pretty good privacy lines, pretty good shade, and then it's just a short little walk to an access point of the river. So 8 and 7 are the 2 best at Moss Creek. I'm going to say 3 is the best one here. And that concludes my review of these 2.